What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode 43 of the Life Podcast. I say it every week, but I am pumped that you are here, whether it is the Tuesday when this episode drops or it's July of 2027. I don't even care. I'm just excited that you're here listening to this episode. And it's really late as I'm recording this episode. It is 9 p.m. and I have two kids who are 3 and 1. So that means I go to bed early. So staying up this late to record a podcast means I really love you guys. And so just know that I'm sacrificing sleep for you. And maybe there's only like 3 people listening to the podcast, but I would do this for you 3. So thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Got a good episode for you today. I always say that because I believe they're all good. But I'm titling it, The Power of Now. The power of now. And let me ask you this question. Have you ever told yourself, I'll do that later? I don't need to worry about it. I'll do it in the morning. I'll fix it after work. I'll do that later. Have you ever told that to yourself before? I'll do it later. And let's be honest, typically the response to that statement is we don't actually do what we say we're going to do. We say we'll do something later, but we don't do it. Let me give you an example. How many of you guys, hopefully all of you, have ever washed your bed sheets, and then when it comes time to put the bed sheets on, maybe you just take them out of the dryer and you like throw them on the bed, and then you're like, oh, I'll do it before bed, and then you're tired, it's like 10:30 p.m., you're ready to go to bed, and you walk into your bedroom and you just see the pile of sheets on the bed, and you're like, I wish I would have done it earlier. I wish I would have just done it when I had the time. And then what you do too is maybe you just sleep on your bed without sheets that night because you're crazy and you're wild like that. I've definitely been there. There's nothing worse than finding out your sheets aren't on your bed when it's time to go to bed. But many of us have told ourselves, I'll do it later. I'll do it in the morning. You ever told yourself you'll get gas in the morning before you go to work and then you're running late to work? Yeah, we've all probably been there. How many of us have put off things that we could have easily gotten done, but we've said, I'll do it later? Today, I want to talk to you about this idea, the power of now. And I think this is going to apply to our personal lives. I think it's going to apply to our work life. I think it'll apply to our walk with God, our faith. I'm just super excited to share this with you. So I just want to give you a few thoughts around this idea of now, the power of doing things now. Not waiting till tomorrow to do what you can do today, but taking advantage of now. So here's my first thought. Now is the only thing we can control. Right now is the only thing that we can control. I'm not sure what tomorrow's going to look like. I don't know what 2 hours from now is going to look like, but I do know what right now looks like, and I am in far more control of this moment than I am of tomorrow. Even Jesus says, why worry about tomorrow? It's going to bring enough trouble of its own. Let's focus on right now and be in this moment. Maybe you have a few hours to get a project done, but you plan to do it this weekend. Why don't you get a head start? Maybe something will come up this weekend and you'll be thankful that you decided to do now what you could have done tomorrow or what you could have done this weekend. I remember last winter, the winter of 2021, or it would have been like maybe January of 2022. I don't remember. But last winter, it got super cold and I had a pipe break. It was a Wednesday morning. I got up out of bed at like 5 a.m. To use the bathroom, and I flushed toilet. The water still went down toilet, but I went to turn the sink on and the water wasn't working. There was no water coming out. I was about to get in the shower. I tried to turn the faucet on in the shower and nothing was happening. The water wasn't working. And I thought to myself, I really hope a pipe did not break. And it was a Wednesday morning, so I had youth group that night. I was like, this would be a very inconvenient day for this to happen. And so I was praying, maybe it is just a frozen pipe underneath my house. Maybe I don't have to go actually fix a pipe, all these things. Long story short, I spent probably 5, 6, 7 hours that day fixing a pipe. That didn't actually solve. A pipe did break, but I fixed the pipe and the problem still wasn't solved. Turns out there was some damaged conduit between my pump and my well, and they weren't communicating. Crazy ordeal. But I spent almost all of my work day trying to fix this pipe because it had to get done. I needed water for my house. And I'm telling you this story because my routine before that, honestly, had been that I was getting everything ready for youth group Wednesday. Like I was finishing up my message, I was getting the games prepped, I was doing all that stuff on Wednesdays. But for whatever reason, that particular week, I had actually had everything prepared for that Wednesday. And so when the pipe broke in the morning and when I was trying to go about and fix it, I wasn't in this big crazy rush because I had already done what needed to be done for that day. Could you imagine if I didn't take advantage of the now back in that point in time? I would have been panicking, trying to get things done so I could get everything prepped, and I wouldn't have been able to do it as well as I would have wanted to. When you control now, your future is better off. Can I just say it that way? And you control your now. This doesn't mean that you need to be busy every second of every day, but be aware of the months, the moments, and the opportunities you have. You will never have right now ever again. This moment is going to be gone. And that leads me to my second thought. Now won't last forever. Seems so obvious, but it's true. Now won't last forever. I heard this story from a famous evangelist, and maybe you've heard of him. His name's Reinhard Bonnke, and he was like a famous evangelist in Africa. I mean, saw millions upon millions of people come to know Jesus while he was on there. He's passed away now, but while he was here, I mean, he made an incredible impact for Jesus and for the kingdom. But he shared this story of how he received this call to go to Africa and to be a missionary and to go preach the gospel over there. He had this dream, and I don't remember the dream, but he saw Africa washed in the blood of Jesus is what he saw. And in this dream, he told, as he was telling this interviewer, whoever he was talking to, or the camera or whatever, but he shared this statement, and it kind of shook me to my core. He said, God came to me and said, Reinhard, I've already asked 6 other people to take up this mission. If you say no, I'm going to go ask somebody else. And I thought to myself, that is crazy. Many others said no. And so it was this idea that the moment Reinhard Bonnke was in was a moment he wasn't going to get back. He had the opportunity to say yes in that moment or to miss out on what God was doing, because now doesn't last forever. And praise God that Reinhard Bonnke said yes to the call and saw millions. I mean, he was holding crusades with millions upon millions of people in one spot, in one place. It was insane. It was insane. All because he took advantage and understood that now won't last forever. It won't be here forever. And this might be a crude example, but when the housing market was on the rise during COVID in 2020, 21, 22, even now, there's this constant pressure to buy now or never, because you're never going to see a better price than you're seeing right now on the house. Like everything is just on the incline. So it's like I can either buy it now or never. And that might be, again, a crude example, but I think it's so true. We have now, and it's not going to last forever. What if what you have available to you right now is only here for a moment? Are you going to say, I'll figure it out tomorrow? I'll do it in the morning? Or are you going to do it right now? Will you decide right now? And I think of all the Bible stories where God called people like Abraham, Moses, Paul, the disciples. The offers weren't there forever. I can only imagine what would God have done if Moses continued to argue with God and say, no, I'm not the guy, I can't do it. What about Abraham? What about Paul? What about the disciples? What if they would have said no to the call that God was offering them? There probably would have been countless others that were ready to take their place, but they said yes. They understood that the offer, the moment, the now wouldn't last forever. Remember in Luke chapter 9 when Jesus tells people to follow him, and one person says back to Jesus, let me bury my father. And then another one said, let me go say goodbye to my household, goodbye to my family. What did Jesus say back? He said, no one, after putting his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of God. Now, this is in reference to following Jesus and salvation, but I think the principle remains that the offer stands right now. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I don't know what the next few hours are even going to bring. So what are you going to do right now? You need to understand that now does not last forever. The offer may not always exist. God may be calling you to do something and you need to respond because the opportunity isn't going to last forever. Now isn't going to last forever. That's my second thought. That now won't last forever. My first thought, now is the only thing we can control. My third thought is this. Now, right now, this moment is the key to productivity. Now, I follow a bunch of like pages on Instagram, and I always see reels and TikToks about like productivity hacks and people working hard and all these things. So I'm all about productivity. I like to get things done. I like to be efficient. But I think that now, making the most of the moment you have right now is the key to productivity. If you wait until later to do what you could do right now, you're missing out. You're already behind. And I don't say that to give you FOMO, to like make you feel guilty. And I'm not saying that you have to live every second of your life like trying to do something to put the pedal to the metal and be on the grind. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying that so many of us are actually kind of lazy, and we're actually kind of like putting things off instead of doing what we can do right now. And I am just as guilty of this as the next guy. When I had to put drywall up and do home projects, I'm the guy that's like, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it later. But I've really had to force myself to start doing things now, because otherwise I'm gonna miss the moment. Like when I have to like do something, or when somebody tells me of a date that I need to be aware of, or a meeting I have to be at, I immediately will go to put it in my calendar, because if I don't do it right now, I'm going to forget. I'm going to miss out. I'm not going to be as efficient as I could be. So when somebody's like, hey, Austin, for example, I told somebody last week, I was like, hey, I will call you on Friday. As soon as I told them I would call them on Friday, I put it in my calendar. I was like, call so-and-so on Friday at noon. Like, I had to put it in my calendar. I had to take advantage of the now, so that way I wouldn't miss out. So that way I wouldn't get behind. Ask yourself this question. What can I do right now to make my tomorrow better? What can I do right now to make my tomorrow easier? Maybe it's garbage day tomorrow. Why don't you take your garbage can to the curb right now, so that way tomorrow you're not forgetting it, you don't get to work, and then you think to yourself, oh my gosh, I forgot to take the garbage can to the curb. Like, this applies to so many areas of our life. Practical, spiritual, like every area of our life this applies to. What can I do right now to make my tomorrow better? Simple question, but I promise you, if you start asking yourself that question, things are going to start getting done. That's the third thought. Thought number 4, and the thought that I think I'm going to leave you with today. This is kind of a quick episode, but I think this is really good stuff if we actually take it and apply it. Thought number 4 is this. Stewarding your now shows God that he can trust you with his later. Stewarding what you have right now, stewarding the moment you have, stewarding the finances you have, stewarding the materials that you have right now shows God that he can trust you with his later. Now and later, do you get it? Like the candy? No, but stewarding your now shows God he can trust you with his later. What you do right now with what God has already given you is determining what God can or can't trust you with later. There's so many parables that Jesus tells, but one specific one that sticks out in this scenario is the parable of the talents. And an owner of slaves sends out his slaves to go make the most of the talents that he gives them. He gives 5 talents to one, 2 talents to another, 1 talent to the last one. Now, the one who received 5 goes out and trades and doubles what he was given. The guy who was given 2 does the exact same thing. He doubles what he was given by his master. And the last one, who had 1, said, you're kind of a tough guy to work with. So I went and I hid this one and I saved it. I didn't multiply it, but I didn't lose it because I thought that would make you happy. And the end result was that those who doubled what God had given them, what the master had given them, received more. And from the one who hid it and didn't gain anything, didn't lose anything, from him was taken. He received nothing. He actually lost what he had. And what a picture this is. You need to be able to steward the moment you have right now in order to get to the future and the later that God has for you. If you have a picture in your mind of where you want to go, then you need to be already maxing out the things that you have right now. You need to be at max capacity with the equipment that you have right now. I just got a new laptop, and it's a beast of a laptop. I mean, it can process video. 4K, super quick. It pumps it out. I just got this laptop because the previous laptop that I had for, 6-7 years. It was a MacBook. I love Apple all the way. If you have anything besides that, you can just stop listening to the podcast right now. No, I'm totally kidding. please keep listening. Maybe God will change your heart. But having this old MacBook that I had, I was pushing it to its limits, even just trying to edit 4K video for the podcast, trying to create reels and content for my church, and just other random things that I was doing. My computer literally could not handle it. I would start to export a video and it would turn into a helicopter, and the fans would be going and it would just be so loud because I was maxing out what I had. And because I maxed out what I had, my wife was like, yeah, you definitely need to get a new laptop. Like, I totally understand. If I wasn't even taking advantage and making use of the things I had now, why would I even think that I should get something bigger and better? I shouldn't, because I'm not even using what I have now. If you want to get to the bigger and the better and the future that God has to you, use what you have right now. Take advantage of what you have right now. Maximize what you have right now. And I promise you that God will be faithful to give you more, to trust you with more. So if you can steward your now, God will trust you with his future, the plans that he has for you. And what a great promise that is. But I really believe that if you understand the power of right now, the power of taking advantage of the moments and the materials and the things and the resources and the time that you have right now, that your life could actually change. Things could start getting done. You could be far more efficient than you have been. Just think about it. Take advantage of the moments that you have right now, because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. You don't know what the next couple of days and weeks and months are going to bring. So take advantage of now. Understand the power of now. And that's all I got for you. We're going to end it right there. I think that's some good stuff. I'm excited for you guys to hear this episode. And if you have any feedback, come on, I welcome it. Let me know. If there's anything you want to hear about, let me know. But like I said, that's all I got for you guys. We'll be right back here next Tuesday for another episode. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, leave a review on the Apple Podcast app. We got to push this thing. So let's do it. Thank you guys for listening. Like I said, we'll be right back here next Tuesday. See you then.